Hey everybody, welcome to Nerds Explain It All. I'm Steven.
I'm Zach.
I'm Lance.
Today we're going to talk about the second half of the amazing show Arrow. That was awful. We're going to talk about the horrible middle season of Arrow.
Middle's the middle. This better be the middle season. At this rate, they'll be lucky to make season 5.
They're definitely going to get all the way there. But this is definitely the low point, which is a good point, right? Nowhere to go but up, right?
True.
Right.
Very true.
So, just a couple of weeks ago was the season finale.
Last week, actually.
Was it last week? Mm-hmm. Oh, God, how time flies when you're remembering something horrible. So, we're going to do a little... I wasn't actually here for the first season wrap-up, the mid-season wrap-up. Mm-hmm. Real quickly, what were you guys' thoughts at that time? Were you liking it so far, or was it already on the downslope for you?
I thought it started very strong, and then it kind of sagged in the middle, and they made some questionable plot decisions. But then at the end, if you recall, the last episode of the first half was the climb, and that was when Oliver fought Ra's al Ghul, and he fell to his death, or so we were to assume. And then, then at that point, the possibilities are endless. You can have the whole Return of the Heroes storyline. You can use the Lazarus Pits. Like, it was a really exciting time because you knew obviously he wasn't going to stay dead. But and if this truly is a 5-year show, like you were saying, Steve, or like we were alluding to and joking about, that would have been the exact midpoint of the whole series. So to have him die and then come back would have been really great move in my opinion. And they didn't do that at all. And they did not. They came back, and it was not. Anyway, Lance, what was your expectation at that point, at the halfway point?
I thought the show was fine for honestly about the first 14 or so episodes. If Arrow was 14 episodes this season, and they just did the first 14 episodes and it ended with him coming back against Brick, that would have been like, oh wow, what an amazing season of television. But then after that, it's not like the episodes were bad. It was just they were directionless, in my opinion. And then it gets to the finale, and the finale was their worst episode of the season. And unfortunately, since it's a finale, that heightens how how poor it was. So my biggest thing with the show this season is it was just completely directionless. There were really good episodes and there were good things that happened, but none of it ever got to the point. They had some stuff, but it never had a direction. It never got to the point. It was just kind of meandering for a while, which is disappointing because the show for 2 seasons had been so good, which is why the ending of this season and the fact that the show didn't have any direction is so weird to me.
Well, Lance and I talk about this a lot, and I'm an Arrow hater now, apparently. Because I'm always complaining about the show, but
you are, and you've kind of been that way since the jump. Even though there have been good episodes,
the jump of season 3.
Yes.
Well, I will say the second episode.
The jump of season 1.
Yeah. Well, we're on record as not liking it when it first started, and it really it won us over because it was such a good show, and now it's lost us over. But I'd say the second episode of the whole season, titled Sarah, which is the aftermath of Sarah being killed, and that might be my favorite episode of the whole series. So, I mean, like you said, they had some really high points this season, but also had some really low points. And, introducing Ra's al Ghul, in the League of Assassins, they had been mentioned in the previous season with Sarah and all that, but, he really became the main villain of the season, ended up being Ra's al Ghul. What'd you think about that?
Well, they kind of, if they were going to make him the actual villain of the series, they should have been a little bit more overt about it, because it seemed like they kind of tiptoed around it for a while. You know what I mean? It's are they going to is he going to officially be the villain? Because sometimes he would be there, and then the last 6 episodes or so, he was just kind of there, but then he really didn't do anything super villainous. So
Ra's al Ghul is one of the most powerful. This is a badass villain. Where the hell do they go from here?
You could have said that at the mid-season point, because he literally killed Oliver, or like I said, so we were led to believe, and just with no effort at all, and it was an amazing fight. Wow, how's Oliver going to come back and defeat him? And he just kind of did.
Yeah.
There really wasn't much more to it than that.
What was his edge the second time?
Only the student can defeat the master. That was something that they had been repeating all season.
Yeah.
So basically Oliver's master plan was to join the League of Assassins, get on the inside track on Ra's, and then defeat him at some point. And I guess that was it. like it was very. Lance and I were talking about this before, and I actually do like the story and what they were trying to do this season, but it was very unfocused, and I hated how they got there. Like they had lots of good elements. Like, okay, they're the League of Assassins. Oh, the Lazarus Pit. Okay. Oh, we're gonna kill Roy.
Well,
oh, no, we're not. You know.
Yeah. Can we talk about the Lazarus Pit for just a second?
Yeah.
And I love it because Barry Allen, I think, said what we all were thinking at the end. They got a hot tub. That was the stupidest looking Lazarus Pit ever. It had like a fountain, had a water feature. What the hell?
Traditionally, it's like a green, glowing, liquid because it's it's mystical, it's supernatural. Speaking of the Lazarus Pit, when they put Thea in the Lazarus Pit and she came out and was like, I was like, are you kidding? That was facepalm inducing. Like, I guess it was supposed to be a serious, scary moment, but it just looked kind of ridiculous. And there was all this talk about, how it changes your soul, and Malcolm didn't even want her to do it. He'd rather her be dead than go through the Lazarus Pit. And then she comes back, there's zero repercussion. Like, she has amnesia for like 2 days or something. And then she's back to normal.
2.5 days.
and the rest of the season, she's completely fine. Like, there's no change, and to get really ahead of ourselves, they are bringing Sarah back via the Lazarus Pit for Legends of Tomorrow.
The White Canary,
who actually is a character in the comic books, the White Canary. It's not gonna. There's no correlation between her, but
she's a newish character, I believe.
Yeah, that name still exists, so there is a precedent for it. But
there was no stakes because now, since the Lazarus Pit has been introduced, like death doesn't mean anything the way it used to on the show. Because like when Moira died, Moira was dead. When Tommy died, Tommy was dead. So
I really was expecting him to bring Tommy back this year. Some mind-blowing twist. And that would have been kind of ridiculous maybe, but I would have appreciated it because, I mean, our mind-blowing twist this season was, Ra's al Ghul is going to make Oliver the next Ra's al Ghul. And we've basically made Oliver Queen Bruce Wayne now at this point. There is no getting around it. Batman officially does not exist in this universe, clearly, because if Oliver Queen is Ra's al Ghul's hand-picked successor, it just, I don't know. Like I didn't. They could have gone so many ways this season, and they chose to just rehash Batman stories and do them in a half-assed way. Now, Roy taking the fall for Oliver was a good twist.
But I still don't like how Roy's not going to be on the show. Roy not being on the show, like, granted, it's not anybody's fault, but still, it's like, I think it's going to hurt the show going forward. I think he was a very vital part of what they were doing.
Is he officially off the show?
Yeah, he's gone. He wanted to go do other things. Like, they signed him to a 2-year contract, and now his 2 years are up, and he's moving on. So, which is a shame because Roy was one of my favorite parts about this season because we finally got to see Batman and Robin together in live action.
Yeah.
Basically, and we were able to take it seriously. And Roy really was a great character this year.
He was.
Really came into his own, and then just for him to leave, it just feels so... there's that Teen Titans show coming on TNT. I was kind of hoping he would move on to that show, but I guess that's not going to happen because he gave his costume to Thea.
There's a Teen Titans show going on TNT?
Titans, yeah.
Yep.
Well, okay. What is the odds that they're not going to take like Teen Titans and then like take out the EE and the Itans and make it TNT? I'm calling it now. Although I guess if it's just called Titans, but still.
Man.
Anyway, sidetrack. But yeah, he'll be back.
I'm not feeling that though. I'm not feeling Thea as the new.
Well, see, I don't mind that too much because I figured that they were kind of going that direction anyway at some point. I didn't figure it would be this soon, but that doesn't really bother me as much as other things do.
Well, here's my point. Tying those 2 points together, the whole plot of Roy turning himself in as the Arrow and then getting killed in prison, it was like, oh damn, that was hardcore. I can't believe they did that. Wow. So for about 5 minutes, I was like deeply affected by the show. And then they reveal in these goofy... I hate it when shows do this. They say, oh, here's some flashbacks to a conversation we cut away from. Here's what really happened. And it turned out that Roy planned the whole thing with Felicity. We'll get to that. Felicity and Diggle. And it was all behind the scenes. And Diggle knew a guy that Lila knew in prison who cut him in the right way to make him look like he was dead. And then they got him out of there. And now it's like, what? He's not really dead? It was so convoluted. If you would have killed Roy in prison and then you take him to the Lazarus Pit and he becomes literally the Jason Todd of this show, that would have been a great
except he wanted to leave the show.
Well, just have him leave. I'm saying in that same episode, Ra's al Ghul stabs Thea and they take her to the Lazarus Pit. Okay, just leave all that stuff out. You have Roy, who's mortally wounded anyway for real. Take him to the Lazarus Pit and do it that way. Don't bring Thea into it.
You know, I think Roy will be back. I'm guessing after he serves in a failed remake of Sleepaway Camp, he'll come back or something.
He's in the new movie San Andreas with The Rock.
Yeah.
He's a TV actor. Sorry, Roy.
Him and Denise Crosby.
She was in Deep Impact. It's all good.
Yeah, 10 years after she left Star Trek.
And let me tell you something too. What is Roy's body type that his outfit fits Thea perfectly? Or did she spin the flight back to doing some seamstress
That's why
work?
she was late to the final battle.
Yeah, she was modifying
customizing the costume.
She's like, I need my ass to look amazing, sculpted to this.
I did like how she said, I think I'll go by Red Arrow. And Oliver says, I think I told her when to call you Speedy already. So, okay, the two names. I mean, that all makes sense. But like I say, I get what they're doing, but I just didn't like the direction. Okay, so speaking about, Oliver dying, all that stuff coming back, he comes back near the end of the season, and he's brainwashed we're led to believe, by the League of Assassins. Because he's voluntarily turned himself over to Ra's al Ghul to resurrect his sister. Ra's gave him access to the Lazarus Pit if he would fulfill his destiny, quote unquote, and become the next Ra's al Ghul. And whatever, that's fine. But turns out he was playing Ra's the whole time. He was never really, never really brainwashed or anything like that. And he had his secret plan with Malcolm Rowland in the background. Yeah. What would have been more interesting was if he had died or, been close to death after that duel with Ra's, and then the league finds him, in the bottom of that ravine or wherever he fell, brings him back, resurrects him, and then makes him a member of the League of Assassins. And and you could explain that's how they get their numbers. Like whenever people fight them, they take him back, they resurrect them, and they become like the mindless assassins committed to Ra's al Ghul because he gave them life. That would have been a very interesting story, I think. And then
you can have a storyline of it, him only being saved by the love of his friends or some bullshit like that.
Exactly. It's as cheesy as that would be. It's
better than what happened.
Yes, exactly. He comes back that whole scene where he's now Al-Sahim and he's the Dark Archer, and that could have been him the second half of the season, and the whole second half is him working back towards being the Green Arrow. And then Lance, you said that speech that he does when he comes back.
That was my favorite moment of the show this season was when he comes back the first time after he beats after he comes back from the dead, so to speak, and he goes and they capture Brick, and he makes that speech about how he was I apologize for being gone, but I'll never fail the city by leaving it again. That would have been a great way to end the season. But unfortunately it happened at episode 14, and then he comes and goes at least 4 more times.
Episode 12, actually.
Instead, the season ended by him leaving the city, failing the city by leaving it.
Yeah. Speaking of Brick, what was his deal? What was his angle? He was just going to take over the Glades forever?
He's a juggernaut, bitch.
I mean, it was great to see Finney Jones on television. I like the whole little trilogy they did there of episodes where Oliver was gone. So you had to see how the team would react with Roy and Felicity and Diggle and even Laurel becoming and
Laurel was great this season.
Laurel, I will say, for someone who I really did not like the first 2 years, I feel like they did a great job with Laurel this year.
Let's talk about that. So I think we've all been Laurel haters over here.
Big time.
First and second season, she was very poorly done. And so was it this season that she started? Yeah, this season she started becoming the Black Canary, which is the stupidest. Her training went too fast. I think that's obviously the direction they were going to go, and I think that's the way they should have gone, but they should have taken longer. I think maybe a whole season. Her taking a lesson every other weekend
from Ted Grant, the Wildcat, man.
And 2.5 sessions, she's already a vigilante. No, and then when she starts getting lessons from Nissa, then she's supposed to be even better. Again, 3 1-hour sessions over the course of a month, and then she could fight 3 of the most deadly fighters ever, the League of Assassins.
Yeah, the more you saw the League of Assassins, they really got watered down. Because like you said, you got Laurel fighting 3 at a time. You remember the first episode with them in season 2 where they came looking for Sarah? There was 3 of them, and they were unstoppable killers. And now you fight 50 of them and no problem. Well, Steve, you probably hate Laurel more than us. At the end of the day, are you happy with her character at least this season?
Let me let me say it this way while also transitioning into something else.
Mm-hmm.
I never expected myself to like Laurel as much as I do and hate Felicity so much.
I knew you were doing. I knew we were going there. That is the major downfall of this season. I think, all this other stuff aside, like all the League of Assassins and this and that, I could overlook all that stuff, right? But the single-mindedness of this season about Oliver and Felicity just sunk the whole show.
And Ray, don't forget about the
Oh, yeah, you throw Ray in there. I mean, I loved Ray, by the way. I love Brandon Routh as the Atom.
We'll get to him.
But I just... God, it was like they had a single-minded... Every scene with Felicity, she was crying or angry about Oliver. How could you do this? Blah, 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 blah. She was... The great thing about her the first year, she was the comic relief. She was the light of the show. She was the normal person, And it was a cute, kind of unrequited crush she had on Oliver, and that was great. That was the team dynamic. But they decided to make Felicity like the love of his life, and he can't be with her and save the city and all this back and forth, and it's just, oh my God, they dragged the character so far away from what she originally was and why people liked her in the first place. So yes, absolutely, Felicity. So listen to me. Yep. Felicity and Laurel have 100% switched places, in my opinion.
They really have. With Felicity, I think what's disappointing is that she's no longer like fundamentally recognizable as Felicity, because like her role on the team was to be their oracle. Her role was to to provide backup, give them all this this tech advantages, and that was pretty much it. She's not supposed to go in the field. She shouldn't be all sassy with Ra's al Ghul in his place.
Oh my God, that was
and all this other type of stuff. Like that's not her. And trying to bark out orders and just just kind of being a bitch sometimes. Yeah. Like that's not her.
I don't know why they decided to do that. Like they know people love Felicity. I keep saying Felicity instead of Felicity. It's just the internet shipping names that have got me. But they know people love Felicity, so they give us more Felicity, and that's great. But don't change the character, like you said, Lance. She's unrecognizable now, and she's just a drag whenever you see her on screen. It's like, oh, here we go, another Felicity scene. It was best when she was who she was, and she had love interests like Barry. Yeah. Or they could have done the whole Ray Palmer thing this season without her being in love with Oliver and all this crap. They could have just that would have been a perfect fit.
It really would have been a perfect fit. I mean, because he has a lot of Oliver's what's the word I'm looking for? The good parts.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and
like she says on the Flash, it's like I'm dating Barry in Oliver's body.
Exactly, which is like the perfect man for her. So why does she have to? It's just the old stupid thing of like the nerdy girl like in The Jock, and it's been done. It's not. I don't feel like it's not Felicity's character. It's just dumb. I mean, yeah, okay, she had a crush, but and
it makes her look bad because she breaks up with Ray, and then immediately goes to Nana Parbat and finally has sex with Oliver.
Which by the way, let's talk about that for a minute, okay? I bitched about this, I think, to both of you guys. But, okay, so if you have someone that you have a crush on for, 3 years now, and, it's while it was unrequited, and then, it says, I do love you, but we can't be together, and there's all this lust going on, and you finally get to the point where you're going to have sex with them. You don't take off your glasses. You keep them on. You want to see everything, okay? You're like, can we turn on more lights in here? I want to see what's going on.
Some more candles, please.
Can we get more candles in this strangely lush room with, like, curtains and, like...
He was the heir to the demon, okay? It was one of their best suites. Yeah.
This is the suite of the demon.
Suite of the demon. So Lance and I actually watched that episode together, and we couldn't help but start singing the Imagine Dragons song, Radioactive, because it was very similar to the season 1 finale when him and Laurel finally hook up. Although that was a lot more satisfying, I think, story wise, because okay, it's been working towards this, and they have this history, and okay, Oliver and Laurel, that makes sense. But Felicity, this episode was supposed to be about Thea getting resurrected in the Lazarus pit, and that was like 10 minutes of it. Everything else was Oliver and Felicity. It's ridiculous. And then she's talking to her. She storms in there and talks to Ra's al Ghul, and I love that look he gives her at first. Like, who is this?
Yeah, that was his bitch please look.
there was so much big plot stuff going on this year. I felt like it all basically got watered down to, will Oliver and Felicity be together? I mean, the strength of Arrow for so long was it wasn't one of these CW kind of shows, like, Smallville, for example. But even then, the characters were in high school, so it was a little more forgivable that they were so caught up in their love life. But, I mean, these people, the first 2 seasons of Arrow, yes, there were CW elements, but the driving force of the story was not who's Oliver going to end up with. And this season, I felt like it was.
It was. And I just don't really care. I always thought the worst part about Arrow was the CW stuff. And at first, it was like a third of the show. And then I guess the producers realized how much people didn't like Felicity. And that was who he was in a relationship with. So they made it even less of the show, I thought. Maybe it had a little bit of a
Laurel, you mean?
I'm sorry, Laurel.
Yeah. Well, because the first season it was Laurel and Oliver and Tommy. Okay.
Yeah.
But then the second season it was Slade and Shadow and Oliver, which was the worst villain motivation ever. And then this season it was Felicity. So I mean, apparently you can't win. It's going to be there. But speaking of Slade, what did you think of Slade's comeback this year?
Whatever. It was just a way for
Yeah, exactly. Completely forgettable and disappointing. I mean, he was the main villain of season 2 and the overarching arch nemesis for Oliver, I'd say, in the show, and completely just wasted in his episode. I mean, Oliver and Thea go to the island to Leon U. They go back to the train, and it turns out Malcolm. It's a very Malcolm move, well played, Malcolm. He releases Slades in order to test Oliver and Thea to see if they're ready to take on what's coming. But that's pretty much it. I was expecting some kind of coda to last season because we didn't really get it. Between Oliver and Slade. We got nothing. Thea ends up shooting him in the arm or something, and then they go put him back in his jail cell. I mean, that was so disappointing and embarrassing. And Manu Bennett himself, the actor, has said, yeah, that was pretty disappointing. I was expecting more out of Slade. So, I mean, I hope they bring him back and do him justice again. Who do you guys think is the bigger villain, though, Malcolm Merlin or Slade?
I think they're trying to make it Malcolm.
I mean, Merlin is kind of his big bad, isn't he?
Yeah, Merlin the Archer, yeah.
So, I mean, that makes sense. But about that, you know what you don't do to your biggest enemy? Give him all the power in the fucking world. Hey, I'm still mad at you, but here's 1,000 assassins at your command. So
I really did.
Nice.
That is the one thing I really did like about the finale. As stupid a decision as that was on Oliver's part, I like that twist where Merlin ended up becoming the next Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah,
that was a good twist.
Like
I didn't see
part.
that coming. Yeah,
I like that part.
And I like his justification because there's this whole prophecy, again, stuff that I hate. The whole prophecy of who survives the blade of Ra's al Ghul becomes the next Ra's al Ghul. And while Merlin was in Nanda Parbat being held prisoner, Ra's tortured him with his sword. So from a certain point of view, he did fulfill the prophecy.
I do like that he's next Ra's al Ghul. It's a great direction, but how they did it is stupid. That
sums up the whole season, though.
Oliver was complacent in it. I think would have been much cooler if you found out that Merlin purposely wanted to be tortured so that he would be eligible, and that he was tricking Oliver the whole time. And you think that he goes off. He's like, we were bros for a bit, but now you're my enemy. And so Malcolm Merlin's like, okay, well, I'm going to go travel the world. And then you find out that he's the next Ra's al Ghul. That's a way to end it.
Yeah.
Not just like, okay.
Oliver passed him the ring of destiny or whatever.
It's what did it look like?
It was like a dragon's head.
No, it was oh god, what are they?
Corn, whatever. What those finger?
Yes, the witch finger snacks.
What are those called?
I'm typing in witch finger snacks and not getting anything.
The internet is no help. But you're right, though. It was so convoluted. Like, the fact that Oliver was complacent in it really does make it less cool. It's a good point. And, Nyssa would really bow to him just because he has the ring or whatever.
Yeah.
You think a lot of those people would be more loyal to her because she had been there longer, but... and then, did you notice that Ra's wasn't as old as he usually is in the comic books? He was only, from the 1800s or something. So there have been several Ra's al Ghuls.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting little twist on the legacy of Ra's.
Bugles.
Oh, bugles! That's what they're called. Do they still make those?
It's the bugle. Yeah, they do. Bugle of power.
The
The bugle of power. Racial bugle.
Racial bugle. Oh man, we mentioned Roy earlier. I thought he was a huge positive this year, especially his. They really did a great job with the special effects. I think because he's basically Iron Man. I mean, he's flying around, he's shooting electricity.
Oh, you fucked up Ray and Roy.
I did.
Yep,
that's a common mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of them both, the episode where Oliver and Ray confront each other, and Roy is there. Roy gets zapped with the electricity.
Yep.
And Oliver has his confrontation. Oliver has his confrontation with Ray, and they talk, and then Oliver just leaves. And I think the whole internet said at that point, "Hey, what about Roy?" It's just like he just leaves him passed out on the dock or something, and it was kind of embarrassing. Maybe it turned out
the rest of the season is just Roy's dream after he gets shocked. That was just poor writing. I mean, it was just
yeah. Once again, the whole season.
Yeah, well, yeah, but let's talk about Rhea just a little bit. Mm-hmm. I really liked how they're sort of developing his character very slowly. Like he's not going to just be like, oh yeah, and last weekend I created this super powerful suit. So he has troubles with it, and he's not really good at flying it because why would he be? Mm-hmm. Why would anyone be good at flying that stuff?
Oh, you know what, Steve? I'm sorry to sidetrack you. But you know who is good at flying it? Felicity. Gosh. Don't steal plots from Iron Man 3, okay? That was probably the most facepalm-inducing moment of the whole season and/or series, was when Felicity flies in to save Oliver, and like that sunk the season for me. I mean, in the whole scene with her and Ray before that, when she was just being unreasonable. Because she's like, Ray, you have to go save Oliver. He's like, I'm trying to save the whole city right now. She's like, but Oliver. It's like, oh my God, woman. Like,
yeah, I'm not gonna save your new boyfriend, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, to anyone that would have been absurd, but she had just broken up with Ray so she could get with Oliver, and it's just it's insulting.
That thing isn't one size fits all either. Okay.
Yeah, like how'd she fit in that? Like, why didn't Oliver? The episode a few episodes back where Ray has to go out in the suit, but Oliver has to control it through like the computer.
Oh my God, yes.
Why didn't Oliver just put on the Atom suit and go do that? Because if Felicity can do it, I'm pretty sure Oliver could too. So that negates that whole plot of that. But I hated that moment so much. That's my least favorite moment of the whole show. And
absolutely, of any show ever.
Yeah, any show.
I mean, it just like. Were they expecting people to be like, "Whoa, I see what they did there," and not be like,
"Well, that's the thing. It's just like, where do we go from here? Like, what? Like, how do they recover, and what is their plan moving forward? Especially like because there's lots of speculation as to why the season was the way it is, and what they're going to do in season 4. Because there's already rumors of season 4 being in lighter of a tone. They dropped some hints about Coast City with a possible meetup with Hal Jordan, and like of course like the whole Legends thing is happening at the same time, and of course Flash is still happening at the same time. So how do they move forward? How do they recover from season 3?
Well, it really did feel like a series finale, didn't it? The way they wrapped everything up.
What I think happened this season is they probably knew what they wanted. They had some storylines stuff. Probably the whole first season had
the whole season written.
Yeah, when they started the show, and they probably knew how they wanted it to end as well. But this is the midpoint, and they just didn't know what to do with it. I think they probably have. I think the next season is going to be better, and the 5th season is going to be awesome. Personally,
well, I'm most excited about the 5th season because that's going to have him back on the island, and I'm really looking forward to how that happens.
Yes, and we've all talked about how it should end. How it should have a 5-year run. The last shot should be the first shot where he shoots the arrow into and creates the fire, which would be like beautiful and awesome.
And have a fire.
And they can easily do that, and they don't have to pull a Smallville and have it run for 15 years because he can show up on other shows. He can be on, he can join the team on Legends of Tomorrow, or have a fucking 4th show, but make Arrow just a 5-year show.
Stephen Amell is doing other projects now. He's doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He's expanding his career, and he loves Oliver Queen. He loves the show. I'm sure even if the series is over, he would come back no problem and be on The Flash or whatever new show they have. Yeah. As a guest spot as Oliver Queen, special guest star Stephen Amell, and the ratings would go up because those Flash crossovers are great. Like throughout, like that's one of the best parts about this season both ways. You get Felicity and Ray going on the Flash, and you had Cisco and Joe coming to Arrow, or vice versa. Or there was a lot of crossover between everybody. I think every character almost was on the other character's show, and that really just universe builds. It makes you feel like, oh, okay, they really do exist in the same world. Because even when there's major events, like Oliver he's in Nanda Parbat, Barry came and helped him out. And when Barry's fighting Reverse Flash, Oliver came and helped him out. And those are the criticisms you get of people talking about shared universes and stuff. Like, look at the Marvel films, like Iron Man 3. Where the hell is the Avengers when Tony Stark's getting his ass kicked by the Mandarin and running all around the world, right?
Mm-hmm. They're busy.
But
got stuff to do, Zach.
To your point, Lance, you're right. I don't know where they go from here. I would assume he'd go to Russia and learn Russian and meet up with the KGB beast.
Yeah, I think that's we know what's going to happen in the next 2 seasons in the flashbacks.
But he didn't go. See, he didn't go to Russia though. He went to Coast City, according to the flashback. Because the great thing about last year was you're like, whoa, he's off the island. What's this? And then the last flashback sets up the whole season of flashbacks for this year, where he's in Hong Kong. You're like, oh wow, okay, this is where he learns Mandarin. Which did he? I don't remember him learning a lot of Chinese. Oh, this is where he gets those Chinese tattoos. No, I guess he didn't. I didn't see him getting tattoos in the flashbacks. So the two main things I thought he was going to be in China for, I really didn't see him do. And now he's going to go to Coast City, maybe for half the season, and meet Hal Jordan. Now that would be cool. If he met Hal Jordan in the flashbacks. This is my theory. This is how I want to see Hal Jordan. I want to see him meet Hal Jordan in the flashbacks, learn how to fly a plane. Because if you recall, in the season finale, he's telling Nyssa how to fly the plane. Mm-hmm. And then in the season finale of last year, they take off from the island, and I think Diggle and Felicity both say, hey, how did you learn how to fly a plane on a deserted island anyway? And that sets up him not being on the island the whole time. So that's cool. So that they could tie that together at some point and say, oh, Hal Jordan taught him how to fly a plane. And then like 3 years from now, Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, can show up on the Flash because he can come back from disappearing, as was established in the Flash. Ferris Airlines shut down their airfield in Central City when one of their test pilots disappeared. Of course, that being Hal Jordan. So I think if they play their cards right, they can tie this together. But I have zero faith in them and their flashback storytelling now after this year. Let's talk about the flashbacks.
They sucked.
The flashbacks were nothing this season. In the first couple seasons, they were probably my favorite part of the show.
Absolutely.
And it's very disappointing this year how they amounted to what?
They just kind of moved too slowly, like, oh, this season is going to be in Hong Kong. Okay, let's see what happens. And then there's the part with the China White at the beginning, when I felt like the whole second half was just like, Akio's going to die.
Yes,
let's save him. But we know we're not going to save him because he's dead. So, what? Like,
I was expecting some twist on it, maybe. I don't know. Like, it was just so blatant, like, oh, after what happened to Akio,
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, he died. So... it's very disappointing. Like, what they could have accomplished everything in one half of this season in flashbacks. Like, you could have spent the first half in Hong Kong and the second half in Russia. You know what I mean? That would have been great.
I mean, they have to spend time in Russia. They can't not.
They really set it up that way. That he can't join the Russian mob in Coast City, right?
I don't know. The Russian mob is pretty prevalent in Coast City, I'm saying.
But then are we to believe that, like, he goes back to the island for the 5th season and his hair gets that long and scraggly? Like, but... I mean, they have to.
That's what you're worried about? His hair? I don't understand. Who's a stylist?
It's a little thing, Steve. I don't know how they're going to come back from this, though, because they effectively ended the show in the season finale. The Arrow identity is compromised. So okay, explain to me this. Oliver Queen's going to show back up as, quote, the Green Arrow, and no one's going to think he's the same guy from before? I mean, he's gonna wear the Robin Hood hat and everything's gonna be fine. Oh yeah, it's not the same guy. Are you kidding? The reason and I see why they did it this way. Season 1, Oliver was a killer. Okay, he killed many people. He was a criminal. He was a murderer, right? But that is the Hood, the vigilante, the Arrow, right? Call him what you will. Okay, all those crimes have now been attributed to Roy Harper because he's the Green Arrow as far as the public is concerned. Publicly he's the Arrow. So he's gone. Okay, so now Oliver Queen can show up as, quote, the Green Arrow and not have all that on his criminal record, because eventually he becomes mayor of Star City, and it's his identity is known. And had he had all that stuff on his criminal record, there's no way that could have happened. So I see how they kind of clean that up with Roy, and that's why Roy can never come back, because he's a convicted. Well, he's dead first of all, as far as the public is concerned. And what are they going to do with Felicity and Oliver next year? Are they just going to be in love the rest of the series? Are they not going to get Black Canary and Oliver together?
Oh, she's going to die. Felicity's going to die.
By who's going to kill her? Slade.
I don't know, but...
See, Slade should kill her. Because remember what he says? He's like, how's that girl you like with the glasses? What's her name, Felicity? I'm like, oh, good. Slade, please come back and kill Felicity. That'd be awesome.
I mean, that's just how it's going to have to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen the 4th or the 5th season.
I don't know, man. I don't want to kill Felicity. I just want her to go to another show. Like, if they hadn't screwed up the whole Adam relationship, I thought, great, she can go with Ray Palmer to whatever show he goes to. That would have been perfect. And get her out of there. But I don't know, because how stale is that going to be? It's Happy Oliver and Felicity every episode. We're in love. Da-da-da-da.
What Oliver obviously is going to come back to Starling City. What makes him come back? Maybe it's Felicity gets killed.
Not going to do it.
What it is. I don't think they're going to do it because that's
they're going to have to come up with something to get him back into the game because he can't just retire. Something
Thea related, perhaps.
Yeah.
Because the whole driving plot of this season was, Thea got framed for Sarah's murder, and that's why Oliver had to do all these things this year. So she's the only family he has left.
There has to be something catastrophic to bring him back. Thea, I think, is the easy choice. Mm-hmm. I think if they opened it up and she dies in that first episode, everyone would be shocked and most of us would be happy. Sorry.
But you can't. There's no one else to kill off. Unless you kill off Detective Lance. I think he's pretty much run his course as a character. I mean, he's gone from hating vigilantes to becoming his partner to hating them again. I mean, what, are you going to keep going back and forth with him? And how he went all over the edge. The episode of Batman the Animated Series where Barbara Gordon has a nightmare about if she died, how her dad would react and come after Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Spoilers!
The show is literally 20 years old. Yep. So I can totally see his point because all these people knew that his daughter died. Yeah. And they lied to him. Like, throughout the whole season until he found out. So he did go a little extreme, and they point that out.
I got you now, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man, let it go. So I mean, I guess you could kill him off, but you can't kill off Thea because you just killed off Roy. And think about last season, the first episode they killed off Sarah. So that's repeating last year. So,
that's true.
Oh man, I don't know what they're gonna do, and I don't think they know what they're gonna do.
Yeah,
That's why I did find it funny that the producers came on at the end of the show and were like, "Hey, Arrow fans, stay tuned for season 4 and find out how Oliver Queen comes back." It's like they had to do that because I'm sure the casual viewer would have been like, "Well, I guess that's the show, huh? Well, at least the Flash is still on."
Yeah,
because it feels like it's over.
They're literally driving off into the sunset. This is going to be like this last season of
Scrubs.
GLU. And Scrubs, but both of those where it's like, oh wait, there's more.
Yeah. Man, the sad thing is, what? I don't care. Lance, you remember season 8 of Smallville where we stopped watching because it was just so disappointing, the finale.
I was going to mention that this is how I felt when I stopped watching Smallville. I was like, it's not worth watching anymore. I'm going to hold out because I believe that there's an end to this, which is the end of the 5th season. Mm-hmm. If I thought there was an unlimited amount of more seasons, I'd be like, no, it's not worth it. But so we're hoping that, and I do think that next season's going to be better, and the 5th season's going to be awesome, and this is just going to be the low point. The problem is that we have to wait 6 months for something we're not really excited about.
Yeah.
Well, if it wasn't connected to the Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, if it was its own thing, like say Gotham or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I would seriously consider stop watching, to be honest. But that's an excellent point, Steve, about there being an end. Like, you're right. If knowing there's a 5-year expiration date kind of helps you get through the tough times.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the way with when I watched Lost. I had watched Lost after it was completed, so I knew there were 6 seasons, and yeah, the 3rd and the 4th seasons kind of blew. I can't even remember why, but I remember that, and but I made it through, and guess what? It got better. Mm-hmm. Going into the 4th season, some questions that need to be answered. What brings, and we already mentioned this, what brings Oliver back? What happens in his absence? Because now, who's there fighting? There's Adam and
no, Adam he blew up. Remember?
Yeah,
that was interesting too. I will say that was
I forgot about that.
Clearly, he shrinks before he blows up, so he survives. But I guess that's how Felicity gets the company, because they just threw that in that random episode where he signs the company off to her unknowingly.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be what, Laurel and Thea,
and Nis is backing down to Parbat. So Laurel and Thea and Diggle, sort of, I guess.
Diggle is, I don't know, maybe Diggle will get a sex change and be in a wheelchair, and it'll just be Birds of Prey.
I think there's a lot of talk about him being the Guardian. Lance, do you know about that character?
Yes.
Can you explain who that character is real quick?
No.
That's what you're here for, Lance. Tell us about these obscure comic characters. Failing. You have failed this podcast.
Isn't the Guardian Jim Harper, who was created by Jack Kirby and Joe? Wait, I think that's right.
He is a Harper.
Well, he was in Young Justice.
Isn't he a police officer in Metropolis' Suicide Slum? He became a vigilante to catch crooks that the law cannot prosecute?
Oh, perhaps that.
Describing himself as guarding society from criminals? Wasn't he trained to fight a condition by ex-boxer Joe Morgan? The same way... But, I don't know. I'm not really excited about it. I think we can all agree with that.
How would you rank the season, Steve?
Third? I don't know what you mean. Like on a scale of 1 to 10?
No. How would you rank all three of the seasons?
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
You rank 1 over season 2?
Yeah. The flashback scenes in season 1 were so amazing that kind of wins it out for me.
That's tough. I'm surprised. I thought you guys would pick season 2 because I don't know. There's a lot about season 1 that's great, especially the last half of it is excellent. And I guess the second half of season 1 and the first half of season 2 are the show at its best.
Yes.
So that's like
so far
pinnacle of the show. That's true. Like you said, Steve, I have high hopes for season 5. But they really need to kind of settle down and truly plan out the rest of the show, because I feel like that this whole season 3 felt like a rough draft. Like they had some cool ideas and they wanted to hit this point and hit that point and do this and do that, but they never really bothered to sit down and tie everything together. Like you look at like The Flash, and everything is so perfectly tied together. Everything connects. Everything just one thing, one episode pays off 5 episodes later, and you can understand why they did things a certain way they did them looking back. Arrow, there's none of that. It just feels like all over the place. So
this season, the first 2 were not that way.
No, I'm talking about this season, exactly. So they need to go back to what they were doing the first 2 years and buck the trend of just throwing stuff to the wall and seeing what sticks like they did this year.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Absolutely. When I'm more excited about Once Upon a Time than the Arrow, you know something's going on.
Yeah, something's a problem.
Well, that about does it for our in-depth discussion of Arrow Season 3, second half of the show.
Part 2.
Part 2, that's right.
Add us on Facebook at Nerds Explain It All. Find us on Twitter at Nerds Explain. You can email us at nerdsexplainitall@gmail.com. I'm Zach.
I'm Lance.
I'm Steven. Remember, here at Nerd Explain It All, we don't break the news, but we do break it down. See you guys next week.